It's the one place in Las Vegas where we're grateful, playful, and mindful about the sustainable plans we have for our culture, community, environment, and history. And there are many more stories at the Springs Preserve where all that matters is what's elemental. With our new Waterworks exhibit getting ready to open its impressive gates to a flood of guests, everyone is completely pumped up about this working facility at the preserve that moves water throughout Las Vegas while raising the H2O IQ of locals and visitors alike. Located in the Charleston Heights pump station, Waterworks is a unique interactive space where you can immerse yourself in the story of water that has so influenced our desert community. A complex hydrodynamic network of pipes and treatment processes provides high-quality water from Lake Mead to the extreme reaches and elevations of the valley. Waterworks offers a reservoir of opportunities for people to experience every aspect of the watercourse, from its sources to its delivery, as well as the global impact it has on humans and our environment. Sit in a research boat and use a zooplankton net just like the water quality scientists at Lake Mead. Test your nose to sniff out ozonation used to treat water and your eyes to find the smallest water contaminants. Take control of a simulated computer model to move water throughout the valley. Feel the weight of water that many people in other countries must carry. It's the only place in Las Vegas where you can live the true journey of water. Waterworks is an unforgettable experience that will engage exhibit goers of all ages thanks to the expertise of project partners from the One Drop Foundation, the Royal Bank of Canada's Blue Water Fund, and the Springs Preserve Foundation, who know the essential nature of this resource and how water can work well for everyone. Discover the faces and places of the past at Boomtown 1905, our recreated historical streetscape where you can stroll back in time and learn more about the humble beginnings of Las Vegas through engaging interpretive exhibits. Visit springspreserve.org for more information. It's a law now, according to the Nevada State Legislature, as well as a really good idea, that we should proceed with building a second playground for the benefit of families who visit the preserve and in honor of the butterflies that make the natural beauty of our desert landscape truly bloom.
People in the community, and that extends through to the Nevada State legislative folks, realize the value that the Springs Preserve has to the entire community here. And they all, I think, are especially passionate about our youngest residents. So a bill was passed during the last legislative session, signed by Governor Sandoval just a few days after the session concluded. And so we want it to fit with our mission and our strategy and the ability for us to continue to teach sustainability to all the people that visit here.
What really gives wings to this vision of teaching sustainability through activity is encouraging children's imaginations to take flight while enjoying the playground's butterfly-inspired concept.
Theming the butterfly playground around one of our really most important pollinators is really a perfect thing for us. A lot of people don't understand the importance that pollinators bring to us in the natural environment, certainly for food crops. That ties beautifully into our new teaching garden that we have and all the sustainable issues that we deal with at the Springs Preserve.
Kids will flock to the spot, as we've seen from all the other butterfly attractions that we've discovered and are studying.
Butterfly-themed playgrounds seem to be fairly popular, and I think we'll find some really cool elements that kids will enjoy. They can learn about the natural history of the butterfly, their importance that they do provide in nature, all while having a great time and learning how they can be better stewards in the environment.
And the participation of kids in the design process for our original playground redesign now underway has totally opened our eyes to what they see as fun and memorable.
We've already had a group of experts here once, so we can use some of the elements and the designs. We've got a big book, a design book that the students' work is in, so we'll be able to incorporate some of those designs and their thoughts, which I think are the most important. What are they thinking about when they want to play? It's not necessarily what an adult might think about if we think about a child's play, but what do the kids really want to do when they get here? So that'll be a great benefit for us, having that experience as we move forward.
By giving our young visitors places that they can really call their own, by law and according to their playground rules.
We're going to have 2 playgrounds. It should be fairly easy for kids to have a really great time here. And I also hope they take away a little bit of learning about how we interact with each other and how we interact with the natural environment. Those are the types of things that I remember from being very young and playing outside and having those experiences that instilled in me, as I became an adult, a sense of stewardship. And we're going to have 2 opportunities to do that here at the Springs Preserve, and I think it's going to be great for the entire community.
We're about to enjoy a new beginning at the Springs Preserve as every living thing breathes a sigh of relief after a summer of Mojave heat, soaks up some welcome touches of rain, dresses in all kinds of finery, and gets ready for the revelry that comes with our signature fall festivals and events.
The fall events at the Springs Preserve you just can't beat. After the summer heat, you're looking for a little relief, and what's better than walking around the beautiful gardens that are at their prime and looking their best.
During our autumn plant sale on Saturday, September 16th, you'll have your pick from thousands of native and drought-tolerant species, including many unique and hard-to-find treasures, as well as familiar Mojave Desert-adapted specimens.
The Autumn Plant Sale is a free event for the plant lover in all of us. Guests can come and purchase desert adaptive plants and native plants as well that you may not be able to find in other places. Master gardeners are also available on site to answer questions. Springs Preserve members receive an early entry as well as 10% off plants purchased that day.
On Saturday, September 23rd, the Asian Heritage Celebration will welcome visitors to a whole world of Eastern, Pacific, and Oriental traditions.
Asian Heritage is a representation of dances, music, and culture from the Far East. Guests can come and experience tasty, authentic food, as well as fun activities and crafts. One of my favorite things about Asian Heritage is that we have the lion dance every year. It is a fun, interactive, colorful display of the Chinese culture. I also enjoy seeing the taiko drummers who come and get everyone involved, from the adults to the kids.
On Saturday, September 30th, the Grapes and Hops Festival will turn the preserve into an elegant setting for fine alfresco cuisine and music with the best adult beverages, and all for a good cause.
At this year's 8th annual Grapes and Hops event, we again partner with Par for the Cure, a local charity who supports breast cancer awareness and research. Guests who come and experience the event will be exposed to live entertainment, as well as over 25 different beer and wine stations, generously donated by Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits. Guests will also experience an offering of 6 different food tastings that are included in the ticket price. This event will sell out. We encourage guests to plan their date night or girls' night out soon and purchase tickets online.
Then, leading up to Halloween Eve, we'll have several weekends from October 13th through the 29th of our perennially popular Haunted Harvest.
Haunted Harvest is our spectacular Halloween event where guests can experience live entertainment, trick-or-treat stations, carnival games, petting zoo, and arts and crafts. Even the littlest trick-or-treater will enjoy the 7 trick-or-treat stations throughout the botanical gardens.
But before the preserve returns to its natural state, we'll have one more weekend from November 3rd through the 5th of supernatural occurrences for a growing number of guests who love the lively experience of our Day of the Dead event.
Dia de Muertos is a fun, exciting, colorful cultural event. Guests can walk through the gardens and experience over 35 altars. There's so many fun things to do at Day of the Dead. You can color a sugar skull, you can have your face painted, you can listen to the mariachis. It really is a fun event to learn about the traditional Mexican culture.
But what makes our eventful schedule of festivals worthwhile for all of us is their contribution to creating an essential and enduring crossroads of culture and community here at the Springs Preserve.
The fall events are just a great way for the community to come and have the Springs Preserve as a gathering place.
In a city that's famous for hurtling toward the future as fast as it can, Roy Purcell's constant vision of what once was brings the bygone days of the Las Vegas Valley to life through his mixed media pictures with text that are the last word in past history. Visit springspreserve.org for more information. With a potential return to the moon and plans for future travel to Mars on our exploratory horizon, the timing is right for the traveling exhibit We've Landed that will make astronauts of us all in a journey that begins right here on Earth at the Preserve, but is as infinite as the universe and the human imagination and passion for discovery. It's a stellar and otherworldly experience where the whole family has a virtual opportunity to pull a few G's at blastoff. Join the crew of the International Space Station through live video footage, handle and examine rock samples for magnetism and radioactivity, dress for success as a space voyager in your own flight suit, or even virtually have your very own try at a spacewalk, a truly immersive trip into space where you'll see Earth as you've never seen it before. And get the truest possible feeling for living somewhere else in the solar system without ever leaving our own orbit. Designed and produced by SciTech in Perth, Australia, and produced by Imagine Exhibitions, Inc., Astronaut appears only at the Springs Preserve for a limited time. So join us through September 17th at the launch of this voyage of a lifetime and many generations. In many ways, we have good grounds for teaching ancient hunting skills here because this site was a traditional gathering place for prehistoric animals and the peoples who crafted the weapons and mastered the techniques our guests are now rediscovering in a series of classes that give them new insights into the lives of the preserve's early inhabitants.
Recently, we've developed sort of an archery program here. We've done some Boy Scout merit badge classes dealing with archery, and sort of this traditional hunting workshop is an outgrowth of that. We thought, okay, well, we can teach people how to shoot a bow and arrow, but it's really interesting for people to learn how people hunted before bows and arrows. How did they get their food before bows and arrows?
And it's an incredible lesson in seeing the terrain of the preserve through the eyes of both the hunter and the hunted.
You can compare and contrast modern hunting to sort of more prehistoric or ancient hunting. Very similar. Obviously, you're not running around the landscape hoping that the animals, the deer, the bighorn sheep are going to see you. So you would have spots, you would have blinds, you would have sort of hidey holes where you could see the animals and they couldn't see you. You also would have done a lot of stalking. You would have snuck up on the animals, get really close because the weapons you had weren't long distance, long range weapons. It's not like a high powered rifle where you can be 100 yards away from them and still bag an animal. You'd have to get pretty close, 20, 30 yards at the farthest probably.
Oh, close.
But humans and animals always existed in close proximity to each other and their shared resources.
Because of the springs, because of the water, animals would congregate here. They would probably be on regular sort of migration routes or routes going from spring to spring or water source to water source, just like people. So people would have followed the animals, people would have followed the water as well.
And an incessant ritual of hunting that was essential to survival here.
It was a constant struggle for existence. You were out there daily looking for your food. What were you going to have for lunch? What were you going to have for dinner? And you might be able to collect and save some of that, but most days you were out looking for food. Hunting would have played an important part of that.
With the prey ranging from easy targets to the biggest game.
Smaller game, smaller animals like rabbits would have been very, very important to prehistoric peoples. But also deer. There would have been some deer once you get into sort of the uplands, as well as bighorn sheep were very, very important. So those types of animals were the bigger ones they would have hunted sort of prehistorically around the time of European contact and even into later periods. Going farther back, we know that people were hunting mammoth. People would have been hunting bison antiguus, which was a really big prehistoric buffalo with giant horns. And so those are the animals that would have been really the focus of people before bows and arrows, when people were using spear throwers and those types of things.
The remnants of their advanced weaponry is evident throughout the valley and the preserve.
In other parts of the valley, we found parts of Clovis projectile points. And these are the really big spear points that people would have used to hunt animals like mammoth or bison. Here at the Springs Preserve, we do have several other projectile points that are most likely spear tips, would have been used for spear throwers or atlatls, and those projectile points date to about 3,000 to 5,000 years old. And we have several of those that we've found. And then of course later in time we have other arrowheads, projectile points that are more reminiscent or what we would expect from bows and arrows. They're smaller, they're a little bit sharper, not as much mass to those. So we have those all over our property here.
Where we're now bringing these artifacts back to life again for sportsmen and historians and any interested visitors who want to experience the original hunting grounds of the preserve in a simulated but very realistic search for food.
We teach people how to throw a spear and learn about that. Then we show them how to use a spear thrower and show the ease as you develop that technology, how much easier it becomes to hunt your food. And then we teach them how to use a bow and arrow. And then we have some 3D targets out in our property, and we go on a sort of a virtual hunt and let them hunt for their dinner.
We've come of age in many ways, and we're pleased to be reaching out and interacting with you now on social media sites such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us for updates, information, and invitations that will keep you in touch with the preserve wherever you go. For more information, visit springspreserve.org. It's never too early to think spring, at least for Southern Nevada's gardeners who are positively blossoming with ideas about the possibilities of fall planting.
I would say fall, early fall is the best time to be planting most of the plants that we grow here in Las Vegas. If you're looking at a lot of the native shrubs and a lot of the perennials and things that do well in Las Vegas, especially the ones that bloom in the springtime, those are the ones you want to get in the ground in the fall time.
There's no rest for the best desert gardeners as they rush to reap the future benefits of sowing during our blessedly mild autumn weather.
A lot of the native shrubs and wildflowers are great to plant now in the fall, and a lot of the deciduous trees are excellent to plant now. Like I said, they'll get their root systems down through the winter time, and they'll be ready for the next heat wave when it hits in the summer the following year.
But, as always, so much depends on the timely care and feeding of plants that slumber through the summer, then wake up hungry.
Generally during the summertime, a lot of the plants will be dormant. Not completely dormant, but they'll stop growing because of the heat. They can't photosynthesize, they can't do a lot of what they normally do. So what happens is you'll have the plants will stop growing, and then in September, as the temperatures cool down, then you'll start to get new growth on the plants, which is really great. So a little bit of fertilizer in September is a great time of year to be fertilizing. You just have to be careful that as you get into October, you want to make sure you're no longer fertilizing or you have stopped fertilizing, because the plants you don't want them to be growing really strong as the first of the winter hits, and those freezing temperatures can really do some damage to plants if they're growing strong at that point.
Because they're meant to grace your garden season after season, we're ready to offer any advice we can about what to plant and exactly when.
September, October is the time to sow wildflowers. So if you want wildflowers in your yard, the California poppies and the desert bluebells, desert marigold, now's the time to buy your seed and put it on the ground and let it grow through the winter time. And the other thing is spring bulbs. Spring bulbs, we do have a variety of spring bulbs that work great in Las Vegas. Daffodils as well as grape hyacinths and some of the species tulips are really great. So if you can buy those and get them planted in October, you'll have a great spring display. And the spring bulbs can actually be extremely good drought-tolerant plants because they'll sit in baking hot, dry soil all summer long without any need for water, and yet you'll still get a great display of flowers in the springtime.
Even plants that aren't putting on a good-looking fall show may be raring to go once winter's over.
If you'll notice at the nurseries, you'll see plants like penstemons or things that don't look great in the fall. Fall is not their best time of year, but those are the ones you want to plant in the fall time. They'll grow through the winter time, they'll put down a really good root system, and then you'll get a spectacular bloom in the springtime.
But beware of the true heat seekers that won't overwinter well.
There are some plants that you want to be careful planting in the fall, things like citrus or any other really tropical things that love the heat and do really well in the heat. They may have a harder time in the winter with the really cold weather.
A wide array of plants from our one-of-a-kind collection are always on display in our botanical gardens and during our annual autumn sale.
We have a unique display of plants that are desert adapted, great for our region, and especially plants that may be native here or hard to find in other areas. So that's what our plant sale is all about.
And if you like what you see at the preserve, we want you to feel free to chat with any of our staff or trained volunteers about how to do it yourself and give your own home garden a spring into fall.
The staff is available at the Springs Preserve. We're working with the plants. We know what to do with the plant material. We can help people tell what plants are good to plant. We can help people diagnose plants and plant problems. So we're happy to do that where we're able to. And so the Springs Preserve is a good resource for just gardening, seeing different plant material that looks really good, and preparing your own garden for what's coming up.
Come design, plant, and grow your ideal garden with our upcoming workshops on everything from vegetables to sensational herbs, container gardening to compost, and even a little lesson on gifts from the garden. Space is limited for these programs, so please pre-register online, in person, or by phone at 702-822-7700. Sustainability is in our nature, mission, and design at the Springs Preserve, and yet we're still taking pains every day to practice, preach, and prove the value of conserving our resources, protecting our environment, and living in harmony as humans from generation to generation.
We have these amazing sustainable buildings here at the Springs Preserve, and the staff is really dedicated to environmental stewardship and learning how to live in a sustainable way. So if we're going to be teaching people how to be sustainable, it's really important for us to be as sustainable as we can as well. We have to set a good example. You know, we have to walk the walk.
So we assemble diverse and dedicated people to guide our sustainable initiatives.
We have an environmental team here called the Sustainability Team, and there are about 15 members. These are staff members from each of the different departments, and they get together every month. They talk about our sustainability efforts here. They look at how effective they're being, and then they talk about ways that we can evolve to become better, to make changes, to become more effective.
Beginning with some of the most traditional and recognizable kinds of conservation efforts.
We, of course, recycle all of the usual things like paper and plastic and glass, but we also recycle batteries here. We've been involved with the Christmas tree recycling committee for many, many years. All of our food waste here is recycled, so we have a very extensive composting program that has been in effect for a long, long time.
Along with reducing and reusing what once were waste materials, we're also rewarding local and traditional craftspeople and artisans to sustain their talents and cultures.
Our gift shop is an amazing place where you can find lots of really unique, handmade, locally made gifts for everyone on your list. And when they're buying items for the gift shop, they really look for things that are, fair trade or locally produced by local artists, or, that are environmentally friendly.
But it's not just a feeling of being environmentally friendly, it's an actual fact according to the accounting systems we use to measure our successes in every aspect of the preserve.
Our sustainability efforts are really wrapped up in something that we call the Environmental Management System, EMS. And every year we have an external auditor that comes in and looks at our sustainability efforts and helps us to gauge how effective we're being. And it's actually part of a wider project called ISO 14000. And what ISO 14000 is really about is environmental stewardship on all levels in terms of operations, systems, buildings, everything that you're doing, your programming, how you can really make an impact in the environment.
Including on the personal level, one thoughtful, sustainable change at a time.
The Springs Preserve has had a really big effect on me personally and living more sustainably. And where I've really noticed it the most is the way that I buy my food. So I am very conscious now of buying just what I need. Is it in season right now? How much do I really need? Part of our mission is really to teach people how to do that. So we have some really amazing cooking classes that we offer that definitely have an angle towards sustainability.
Which means we can eat, sleep, and live more sustainably daily in the spirit and with the inspiration of the Springs Preserve.
There's something about being here in this environment that really makes you want to learn how to protect what we have.
There's a lot more to discover, so join us next time here at the Springs Preserve, where improving water knowledge, sharing the laws of play and survival, planting that ideal fall garden, and coming together as a community are essential elements of our mission that mingle to bring new life to Las Vegas.